All right, we're finally on day 5 of our very first unit. So good job sticking it out. Let's keep it going. So variables on both sides. This will take place many times this school year when we're dealing with angles and sides and midpoints of things where things equal each other, okay? So when we're talking about variables on both sides, you're gonna have to do some movements, okay? Based on what things are. So if you have parentheses, you're gonna distribute first, so 5x minus 15, because again, you're gonna do 5 times negative 3. Then you're gonna bring everything else down, and then go from there. So this is like if you wanted to go to someone else's house, but you're gonna have to clean up your house first. This is the same kind of idea, where you wanna clean up one side of the equation before you move anything to the other side, okay? Now you're gonna try to get to these 4 terms. Now once you get to the 4 terms, then you have to make a decision. You have to figure out what is alike. Well, I have 9x and 2x, so I need to put those together. So I'm actually going to move this 2x to the left. And how I do that, but of what we've been doing on day 4, we're going to do the opposite sign. So it's 9 minus 2. Well, that's 7x. That's how I move it to the other side. I want to get rid of it on this side, on the right, and I want to move it to the other side. Then I'm going to bring everything else down that I haven't dealt with yet. Okay, so I move the 2x. Now I'm going to move this negative 15 over to the other side, but it's not going to be negative anymore. What is it going to be? It's going to be positive. Okay, so 43 plus 15 is 58. All right, and then I'm going to divide 7 to both sides, like so. And 58 divided by 7 is going to be 8.2857, etc. So we're going to just keep it as 58 over 7, and that's okay when we have to leave it as such. Okay, so we're working out those problems. We're doing the best we can and making it happen. All right, so again, follow these steps along the way where you're going to move the variable, move the constant, which is just the number by itself, and then we're going to multiply and divide to finish it off and get that variable. Okay, so again, I'm going to move the variables first, so 5p and 8p, which one am I going to move? And then the negative 14 and the 4, which one of those am I going to move? So I'm going to move 8p to the left, and I'm going to get a negative, but I'm going to be okay, which will be negative 3p, and I'm going to bring everything else down. I will add 14 to both sides, and I get negative 3p equals 18. And then what do I do last? I divide negative 3 to both sides, and p equals negative 6. And there we go. Then we're going to distribute, and that's my answer. Okay, number 2, what do I have? Ooh, I have parentheses, so I need to clean up that side before I move anything to the other side. So negative 48 minus 40n. Again, make sure to bring that negativity along with you when you are multiplying it to both of them when you're solving. Okay, so again, what do I need to do? What's my mission? Well, I need to look at what my variables are, and I need to look at where my constants are. So I'm going to first move the negative 40 to the left and make it a positive, which is 43n. Okay, and then I'm going to move this negative 5 to the other side. Again, when I'm making those arrows, I am doing the opposite sign. So this is actually positive 4n. And if it helped, 40n. So I actually am writing it down. If you need to, go for it. If you know, like, okay, I'm going to move this negative 5 over, what does that mean? Adding, then you should be A-okay. So negative 48 plus 5, which is negative 43. Okay, then I'm going to divide 43 to both sides, and n equals negative 1. Okay, wanted to have an example of when sometimes they don't come out nicely, and sometimes that happens where you get a fraction. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just how life is. Sometimes it's not that pretty, and you have a fraction or you have a decimal. Okay, number 3 is pretty spicy. Okay, so we're going to deal with this distributive property first. Then we will clean up house, and then we'll go from there. So let's multiply that 2 to everything. So 2 times 4 is 8x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Now you're going to bring everything else down. Negative 8 plus equals 4 plus 2x. You're going to clean house. Okay, Now, before again I start moving things over, I'm going to combine like terms. So I have a -6 and a -8, which is a -14. Use those calculators. Practice putting those in the calculators to make sure you know what's up. Okay, now I can do my balancing act. So I have my variables. What are my variables? 8x and 2x. They have our friends with them. They have that letter with them, also known as a variable. And then now my constants, which are just my numbers on their own. Okay, so if you want to kick it old school, that's totally fine. I'm going to subtract 2x to both sides, which is 6x. Bring down the -14 and the 4. And I'm going to add 14 to the other side by doing the opposite, which gives me 18. What's last? How do I get that 6 away? Divide by 6 to both sides, and x equals 3. Alrighty, so moving right along, again, equations all year long this year. So we really want to make sure we know how to solve these, solve the different types of problems. Okay, because a lot of people are like, oh, I know the equations, I just don't know how to get there. So we'll teach you how to do that, but first we need to practice these equations. So 6y on this side, then bring that 3 over, so 3 times y, and then 3 times 8 is 24, and then I'm going to drop down that y. Now again, let's clean house. So I have a 3y and a y. So how many y's do I have? I have 4 y's. Okay, and there we go. All right, we're moving right along, y'all. So let's think about it. So we had the parentheses. Then we combine like terms. Now what? Go back to our steps. Variable, move. So we have to move one of the variables to the other side. So which variable are we going to move? Well, the 6y is lonely. So let's move that 4y over, and that'll make 2y. Again, I am subtracting the 4y. Okay, and then I'm going to divide 2 to both sides, and y equals 12. Okay, how do I solve the problem? Step by step by step. I have a problem that I have to fix. I'm going to go through the steps. Okay, and again, this is just a preview of what you're going to do in the future. Okay, just so you can see it. So vertical angles, what are we going to do if something's vertical angles? Again, we will teach you this, but I just wanted to give you a little sample before you get started. Okay, this is kind of where you're going to go in the future. So 2x and 5x. So again, I have my variables, I have my constants, and think about how you're going to set that up. So if I move this over, I'm going to be subtracting it. And I'm going to move this over. How am I going to move it over? By subtracting it. So 9 minus 48 is -39. It's a negative because this is actually a -48. Okay, I'm going to divide -3 to both sides. When I have two negatives, I get a positive. So positive x equals 13 because these angles are equal, and we will teach you that. Okay? All right, number 6. This is something that you'll see in January. But again, we're just giving you a little freebie on, so you're not like 1 through 4, that doesn't look like geometry. We're going to apply those algebraic properties or algebraic calculations to geometry. So this is your future. So this is known as a parallelogram. Again, we will teach you all about it. That means that these two sides are what? Equal. So we're going to make these two sides equal to each other and solve. So I'm going to quickly go through this. Same song and dance. My variables right here. My constants right here. And I'm going to solve. Ta-da! So move the variable over, add the 8 to the right side. Again, the opposite sides. If I am moving across this barricade, I have to do something. If I go to another country, I have to do something in order to get into that country. Okay, same thing with this one, midpoint. Oh, let's look at midpoint. What does midpoint mean? So again, that equal sign, it's that barrier. So what am I doing? Okay, midpoint means that, again, these two segments are equal. And we will learn that next unit. Does not matter which side goes with, which side goes on the left and which one goes on the right. I just write it down. So again, you try this one out. So I'm going to go to one side and I will move the other one to the other side, and let's see how that goes. So you try out that problem and see what you get. All right, perfect. So you should have gotten x equals positive 3 once you moved over the 12x and you moved over the 11, thinking about your signs, and you should have gotten 3 as the answer. Okay, so ask questions with your teachers if you have any questions on day 5, and have a